So the day finally came. Ghislaine Maxwell was set to testify before Congress. And, everyone was expecting bombshells about Jeffrey Epstein's network. But what did we get instead? A total wall of silence. So today, let's break down why that silence actually speaks volumes. This was huge. For the first time since her sex trafficking conviction, Ghislaine Maxwell was testifying under oath, beaming in virtually from federal prison to face the House Oversight Committee. You can't really overstate it. The stakes were just incredibly high. So for the survivors, for the investigators, really for all of us watching, there was just one massive question hanging in the air. Was this the moment? Was the woman right at the center of Epstein's whole criminal enterprise finally going to break her silence and spill everything? The names, the details, all of it? Yeah, this deposition was seen as the critical opportunity to finally get to the truth. Think about everything that was riding on this one deposition. We're talking about long-awaited answers for the survivors, the chance to finally get the names of other co-conspirators, and maybe, just maybe, understand the massive financial and criminal web that let Epstein operate for decades. And remember, this was her first time testifying under oath since the conviction. The pressure was absolutely on. But, despite all that anticipation, what happened was, well, for a lot of people, pretty predictable. Maxwell put up this legal wall, and it all came down to one of the most famous rights in the U.S. Constitution. Okay, so the Fifth Amendment, we've all heard of it, right? Pleading the Fifth. It's what protects you from being forced to say something that could incriminate you. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, she's already been convicted. How can she use that? Well, that's the thing. Her legal team found a path, arguing that because she's still petitioning for a new trial, she could still invoke this really powerful right. And well, that's exactly what went down. The committee chairman, James Comer, came out of that closed-door session and just laid it out for everyone. He said Maxwell read a statement and then, boom, invoked her Fifth Amendment right to every single substantive question. So the whole thing was basically over before it even got started. Okay, so if everyone kind of saw this coming, why even bother? Why does this whole thing even matter? Well, the answer totally depends on who you ask, because her silence has kicked off two wildly different interpretations, and they fall right along party lines. So legally, Maxwell's silence meant one thing. But in Washington, it kicked off two totally different political stories. And this slide just lays out the divide perfectly. On one side, you've got Democrats who see this as a total political game, a calculated play for a pardon from Donald Trump, all about protecting powerful people. But on the other side, Republicans are framing it as, a standard legal move. Disappointing, for sure, but a predictable strategy because of her ongoing appeal. And let me tell you, Democrats on the committee were not happy. They came right out of that deposition and basically accused Maxwell of using her silence as a bargaining chip. They called it a direct message, a long-running campaign aimed right at President Trump for clemency. Chairman Comer, though, he presented a much more, procedural take. He explained that her lawyer just kept bringing up her pending habeas corpus petition over and over again. That was the legal reason for her silence. So from his point of view, it wasn't some political signal. It was just a legal necessity for her case. Okay, quick sidebar, so we're all on the same page here. What is a habeas corpus petition? Basically, it's a legal tool you can use to challenge your conviction or detention. So Maxwell is using it to try and get a whole new trial, and her lawyers are arguing that if she testifies now, it can mess up that whole effort. But Democrats are saying, nope, this is way more than just a legal strategy. They're calling it the clemency gambit, a high-stakes political game aimed squarely at the White House. So here's how they're connecting the dots on this theory. Now, this is key. According to both sides, Maxwell's lawyer actually said she would answer questions if she were granted clemency. Democrats just jumped all over that. They see it as a straight-up offer. My silence can be bought with a future pardon. And that's why they immediately called on Donald Trump to come out and publicly say, no way, I'm never pardoning her. And just to add another layer of political chess to all this, Chairman Comer also pointed out that Maxwell's lawyer made a specific point of stating she has no information that either President Trump or President Clinton were involved in any wrongdoing. Some people saw that as a really calculated move, trying to play to both sides of the aisle. So where do we go from here?
Maxwell's silence might have slammed one door shut, but it looks like it's opened another one, because investigators are now turning to a huge, huge pile of new information. Check this out, over 3 million. That's the number of unredacted pages from the Epstein investigation that the Department of Justice is now letting Congress dig into. We're talking more than 3 million documents, photos, videos, all the stuff that could hold the very answers Maxwell refused to give.
And this is far from over. The depositions are going to keep coming. The committee has a seriously packed schedule. I mean, look at these names. Epstein's former client Lex Wexner, his accountant, his lawyer, and yes, both former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. It's clear they are determined to keep digging, no matter what. So this all leaves us with the big, ultimate question, doesn't it? Ghislaine Maxwell chose to stay silent. But now you've got millions of pages of evidence and this long line of key people who still have to testify. The fight for justice for the survivors is nowhere near over. The real question is, will these new fronts, the documents, the new testimonies, will they finally be the thing that delivers the truth?